and you are, go ahead.
Ken Daleabout, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Dignity Health on the Central Coast.
Very good. Thank you for meeting with me. I'm going to ask a few questions from my public health class, and if you can answer those, I'd appreciate it. Why did you pick this career?
To be honest, on a very personal note, there was two things that came into play. One is I love the sciences, like many healthcare, public health folks. Thought we're going pre-med, so I took all the pre-med classes and then realized that actual direct patient care wasn't my thing, and sat back and said, what else is there? I love the sciences, and are there other careers in healthcare? And so turned more into policy management strategy. So
that's good.
It's kind of the merger of interests and what's out there.
That works. If you had to do it again, would you choose that career?
Still, healthcare is still very, very meaningful. There's nothing like, making something better for the community. Looking at an issue and solving it. It's real life. So yes, healthcare is a tough industry.
Yes.
Highly regulated. In terms of the dollars, that no one was willing to pay enough to actually get done what they want to get done. We see all the time with underfunded programs and needs that are met. So, in that regard, it is a tough career, but I can't think of something that has more meaning. So yeah, I would do it again. Good,
very good. And what's the best thing about it, and what's the worst thing about it?
So, like I say, the best thing about it is doing good. You can't be in healthcare. I guess you can, but to really fulfill healthcare, public health, you have to care about the community and the good you're doing, and so that's the best thing, is really making a difference.
As a blanket, as opposed to individual people.
Correct.
That's good.
Correct. It's, you affect one thing, and it can affect a whole lot.
That is, excuse me, but that is pure public health related, absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's just, if you want to make an impact, there's probably nothing better. It is altruistic in so many ways. The worst thing about it, I already said it. It is tough. You're fighting for dollars for whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conflict. Highly regulated. What is the best thing to do may not be supported by the general public. If you look at behavioral health right now, big demand, huge need. Not a whole lot of general public support for it. So how does that get done?
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's very frustrating between what should be and what could be and what can be.
Is that in relationship somewhat to that shooting that happened just recently in Isla Vista? That's more behavioral health as opposed to cause and effect.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put that in the same thing.
You wouldn't put that in there?
I guess there's some public health of how do you identify segments of the population, and then how do you drive that down to the individual and get them help.
That's a long path.
But, and it's a lot of resources. If you're looking at systems, you would hope that you get to be 100%, but never the case.
That's hard.
I'm just looking at whole segments of the population that don't fit into a bucket.
Yeah.
And they go without whatever.
And you got to do the best you can.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone planning to go into this career?
There's early on, I was lucky in order to go through a program where you can get dual programs, and so I have health program and then also the business degree. And I would encourage people, whatever segment of public health, healthcare, you have to get the business side of it. Otherwise, you'll be forever frustrated that you don't understand the dynamics behind the curtain of what's going on there. So that would be one, to get as much economics, accounting, finance, because it'll help you understand how healthcare works.
That's a good point. A friend of ours recently told me that one of the things they would put into medical school would be the business aspect, how to actually run a business. So that makes perfect sense to what you're doing as well.
The doctors will tell you that. They don't teach you this.
No, I agree.
But that would be one. You wouldn't first come to that, but I've seen it, and it's a reality of of the industry.
Very good. And anything else that you want to add? I think we're pretty much concluded in our questions, but is there anything else you would like to add for public health professionals in that aspect? Too vague, right?
Yeah, it's a broad question, but no, I mean, it's if you look at it, it's there's always going to be the need.
Yeah.
It is an industry that has no sunset. It over the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a dramatic change on how things are done. I look at it as having grown up in Orange County, right by the beach. Even in the 70s, we'd have smog days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And where at recess you weren't allowed to move, and at lunchtime you had to sit in the cafeteria. 20 years later, 25 years later, have now a family. My kids went through elementary school in Orange County, but 5 to 8 miles more inland, so the smog would be worse.
Yeah.
They've never heard of a smog day.
True.
So it took 20 to 30 years to change the air quality, but it happened.
Yeah. Healthcare
reform, public health issues, there's no way that it can happen overnight. And I kind of, that's my analogy is, there's going to be some real change over the next 5 to 10 years. It can't happen so rapidly that we lose control, but it's going to be much different 10 years from now.
It'll be interesting to see.
If you want to go someplace and not see change, then this isn't the environment.
Good point. Good point.
So.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Thanks.